In the intricate tapestry of Middle Eastern history, there exists a chapter often overlooked, a period when the narratives of Iran and Israel were intertwined not by conflict, but by cooperation. There was a time when Iran and Israel were not enemies, locked in a struggle for regional dominance, but close partners, sharing common interests and a vision for the future. From Israel's founding in 1948, a pivotal moment that reshaped the geopolitical landscape, until 1979, the year that witnessed a seismic shift in Iranian politics, Iran's Pahlavi dynasty under the rule of the Shah, firmly aligned with the West, embracing modernization and seeking to establish Iran as a regional power. During this era, Iran quietly but deliberately built a strong relationship with Israel, fostering ties that would have seemed unimaginable in later years. Demonstrating a bold departure from prevailing sentiments in the Arab world, Iran became the second Muslim-majority nation to officially recognize Israel, laying the foundation for a strategic alliance that would shape the region's dynamics for decades to come. Both nations, despite their differences, saw the rising tide of Arab nationalism, with its pan-Arabist ambitions, as a significant threat to their respective interests and security. This shared concern led to deep cooperation in security and intelligence matters, with both countries exchanging information and coordinating strategies to counter perceived threats. In a particularly notable example of this collaboration, Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, provided training and support to Iran's SAVAK, forging a powerful non-Arab bloc in the region, a strategic partnership designed to counterbalance the influence of other regional players. Economically, Iran played a crucial role in supplying oil to Israel, ensuring a stable energy supply for the burgeoning Israeli economy. In return, Israel provided technology and military hardware to Iran, bolstering its defense capabilities and contributing to its modernization efforts. This pragmatic partnership not only modernized Iran, driving its economic growth and infrastructure development, but also significantly strengthened Israel, enhancing its security and solidifying its position as a regional power. This mutually beneficial relationship thrived for over 3 decades, a testament to the shared interests and strategic calculations that underpin the alliance. However, this alliance, built on pragmatism and mutual benefit, depended entirely on the stability and continued rule of the Pahlavi regime in Iran. As history would reveal, no one foresaw how quickly and dramatically this seemingly unbreakable friendship, forged in the crucible of shared interests, would turn to bitter enmity, transforming the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East and ushering in an era of conflict and mistrust. Everything changed in 1979. The Iranian Revolution toppled the Shah and brought Ayatollah Khomeini's Islamic Republic to power. The new regime rejected the Shah's alliances, especially with Israel. Diplomatic ties were severed and the Israeli embassy was handed to the Palestine Liberation Organization. Israel was now seen as an illegitimate colonial outpost of the U.S. Khomeini's ideology cast the U.S. as the Great Satan, and Israel as the Little Satan. This wasn't just rhetoric, it became the core of Iran's foreign policy. The old friendship was replaced by deep, ideological hostility. The regional balance shifted overnight. The stage was set for a new, dangerous rivalry. Iran's new leadership didn't just cut ties with Israel, they began working to undermine it. Iran built the Axis of Resistance, supporting groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza. Hezbollah, created with Iranian support, became a major threat on Israel's northern border. Iran armed and funded these proxies, turning Lebanon, Syria, and Gaza into battlegrounds. Even Sunni groups like Hamas received Iranian backing, united by opposition to Israel. This proxy strategy kept Israel under constant threat and burnished Iran's image as a defender of the Palestinians. Israel responded with covert operations, targeting Iranian assets across the region. The shadow war escalated, with both sides locked in a cycle of attack and retaliation. As the proxy war raged across the region, Iran's nuclear program became the central and most pressing issue. Israel viewed a nuclear Iran as an existential threat to its very survival and security, and launched covert operations, cyber attacks, sophisticated and targeted, sabotage and assassinations, to slow Iran's progress in developing nuclear capabilities. Iran consistently denied seeking nuclear weapons, but advanced its program, especially after the U.S. unilaterally left the 2015 nuclear deal. By 2023, Iran's uranium enrichment reached alarming levels, a point of serious international concern. shrinking the time needed to potentially build a bomb. The nuclear standoff significantly raised the stakes of every confrontation in the region. For Israel, stopping Iran's nuclear ambitions had firmly become a red line that could not be crossed. The risk of a direct and devastating war grew exponentially with every escalation. Throughout the preceding years, a shadow war had been brewing, a clandestine struggle fought in the shadows. But in 2024, the simmering tensions finally erupted, and that shadow war exploded into open conflict, marking a significant turning point in the region's history. On April 1st, the conflict took a dramatic turn when Israel directly struck an Iranian consulate in Damascus, a bold move that shattered previous norms of engagement. The strike resulted in the deaths of several senior IRGC commanders, dealing a significant blow to Iran's military leadership and escalating tensions to a fever pitch. Iran vowed retaliation, and on April 13th, they followed through on that promise, initiating a direct response that would reverberate across the Middle East. In a move unprecedented in scale and directness, Iran launched over 300 drones and missiles directly at Israel, signaling a new phase in the conflict. This was a first, a direct attack from Iranian soil onto Israeli territory, a historic moment that redefined the rules of engagement. Israel's sophisticated air defenses, bolstered by crucial support from the US and other allies, sprang into action, working tirelessly to neutralize the incoming threat. The defensive system successfully intercepted the vast majority of the attack, preventing widespread damage and casualties. Despite the limited damage, the message from Iran was unmistakable and clear. They were willing to strike openly and directly, crossing a red line that had previously been carefully avoided. In response, Israel retaliated swiftly, launching strikes inside Iran, targeting key strategic locations. These strikes focused on air defense sites located near nuclear facilities, raising concerns about the potential for further escalation and the targeting of sensitive sites. With these exchanges, the long-standing taboo against direct attacks was definitively shattered, ushering in a new era of open confrontation. Subsequent exchanges in July and October of 2024 further solidified this dangerous trend, demonstrating a continued willingness to engage in direct military action. These repeated escalations confirmed a new, dangerous dynamic in the region, one characterized by a heightened risk of miscalculation and all-out conflict. While Iran's proxy forces had been significantly weakened in recent years, limiting their ability to act as a buffer, Iran demonstrated its resilience and its capability to absorb significant hits and strike back directly, showcasing a new level of military assertiveness. The conflict was now undeniably out in the open, a stark departure from the covert operations and proxy wars of the past. With each exchange, both sides were engaged in a dangerous game of brinkmanship, testing each other's resolve and carefully probing the limits of acceptable action. As a result, the risk of all-out war between Iran and Israel had never been higher, casting a long shadow over the entire region. The entire region braced for what might come next, with populations on high alert and governments scrambling to de-escalate the situation. The old rules of engagement, the carefully constructed understandings that had previously governed the conflict, no longer applied, leaving the region in uncharted territory. The uneasy calm that settled after the tumultuous events of 2024 didn't last. It was a deceptive stillness, a mere prelude to the storm that was brewing beneath the surface. On June 13, 2025, the fragile peace shattered. Israel launched massive coordinated strikes on Iran's military sites, targeting key infrastructure and strategic locations. The strikes extended to Iran's nuclear sites, facilities crucial to their energy program and defense capabilities. Israel justified the attacks, claiming self-defense, citing imminent threats, and the need to protect its national security. Despite claims of precision targeting and minimizing collateral damage, hundreds of civilians were killed, caught in the crossfire of this escalating conflict. The civilian casualties sparked international outrage, with widespread condemnation of Israel's actions. Iran swiftly retaliated, with waves of missiles and drones unleashing a barrage of attacks against Israeli territory. These attacks targeted Israeli cities, causing widespread panic and destruction. The retaliatory strikes resulted in significant civilian casualties on the Israeli side. The US, initially defensive and urging restraint, found itself drawn into the conflict. Ultimately, the US joined the fight, siding with its longtime ally, Israel. US forces launched their own strikes, targeting Iran's remaining nuclear facilities. President Trump addressed the nation, announcing, the successful destruction of key Iranian sites, declaring a victory against Iranian aggression. This intervention crossed a major red line, escalating the conflict to a new and dangerous level. The war threatened to spiral out of control, drawing in other regional powers and igniting a wider conflict. The world watched in fear as the specter of a global war loomed large. After 11 long and terrifying days, intense diplomacy involving numerous world leaders and international organizations led to a fragile ceasefire, a temporary reprieve from the devastating conflict. The ceasefire was officially declared on June 24th. The guns fell silent, bringing an end to the immediate violence. But the region was left scarred and unstable, with deep wounds that would take years to heal. The core issues that ignited the conflict remained unresolved, a ticking time bomb for future instability. The June 2025 ceasefire ended the fighting, but not the conflict. The Iran-Israel war has reshaped the Middle East and threatens global stability. The rivalry influences conflicts across the region and endangers global energy supplies. Any escalation could disrupt oil flows and trigger worldwide economic turmoil. U.S. intervention showed how quickly the conflict could draw in superpowers. The world remains on edge, hoping to avoid another round of devastation. The core issues, Iran's nuclear ambitions, its proxies, and deep ideological divides, are unresolved. The future depends on whether these rivals can step back from the brink, or if war will return.